Hello, and welcome, my friends, to the next video in the Create Better Content series, where I show you how to tap into your creativity so that you never run out of content ideas again. My name is Penny, and I'm going to be your guide through this unique creative content development process. I want to teach you how to create more engaging content for social media, more remarkable content for your sales pages, some more amazing information that you will share on your email messages, and all of these things combined to help you reach more qualified customers. And if you want to learn more about creativity and how this can help you develop your content marketing plans, I would love to see you hit that button below and subscribe to this channel. And below in the description box, you're going to see a few links. The first link that you will see is for my book called I Just Did a Thing. And in my book, I go into more detail about the science behind why tapping into your creativity really does help you with your content creation. And it can help you with even more things having to do with your business or making a big change in your life. And the second link that you're going to see is so that you can personally subscribe to the Create Your Business program and go through this process that I'm always talking about. You'll get your interactive workbooks that will show up in your inbox every month. And then when the creative tools show up at your front door, you can personally experience the creative activities and see what it's actually like to tap into your creativity. So today's video, we're going to stay with the topic of developing your content workflow. And let me just tell you that this idea of the content workflow is really like the best way for you to get more done and to finally figure out this thing that everybody's talking about, scaling your marketing, and doing this without totally losing your mind. Because here's the thing, a content workflow is just a series of tasks that you will do. It takes your content from the idea of it to posting or publishing and doing it as efficiently as possible. And what we're going to be able to do is we're going to kind of outline this process, and I want to walk you through the resources and the tools that you can use to help you be more effective with your time when you are doing your content creation. And the more effective that you can be, the more opportunities you have to scale. And what I mean by scale is not necessarily, okay, I'm on 3 social platforms. Does that mean scaling means I have to go up to 5? That's entirely up to where your business is and what your business goals are. Because scaling could also be, I'm posting twice a week and now I want to scale it up to 5 times a week. Frequency is always great when it comes to scaling your marketing plans. So don't think of scaling as just adding more social platforms. It could be, like I said, increasing the amount of time that you are posting. It could also be adding something new, like adding in an email marketing piece to your puzzle, like adding in videos, like adding in another opportunity for you to reach people, doing live workshops, those types of things. Because a content workflow, basically, it's going to help you create content, and it's going to help you stay consistent. And the idea of this content workflow is that you're visually going to be able to see where you are in the process, and as you keep moving along, to make sure that your content is actually aligned with your goals. The content workflow helps you stick with your deadlines, especially if you are planning a launch of a product or a program. And it's going to help you see where you are with everything and make sure that it gets done and nothing falls through the cracks. A content workflow lets you see the process from start to finish, from idea to publish. And you're going to be able to catch roadblocks, challenges, the bottlenecks in the content planning process. And especially, like I said, going back to if you're doing a launch, when you're really time sensitive when it comes to when things need to be posted, how frequently they need to be posted, and the content of the content that needs to be posted. So your content workflow process is just a whole bunch of action steps. And these action steps include, but not limited to, as we always say, include but not limited to, brainstorming your topics, coming up with content ideas, writing your meta tag descriptions, looking for images, doing your research on SEO keywords, creating an outline. Let's say you do an outline for a blog post, creating your social media posts, writing drafts, editing the drafts, publishing, the video, the blog post, any of the things that are the final result of your content creation. And so when you're figuring out your content production, if you've never done this before, I totally get it. It can be kind of tough to figure out, because here we are in this place as business owners, and not only do we have to come up with, like unique ideas to promote our businesses online and how we're going to get more eyeballs and how we're going to get more engagement, but you also have to manage this entire content creation from idea to creation to final promotion. And I get it. Your to-do list is probably already packed with things like, what am I going to write in my newsletter this week? If you have a contractor, what are the contractor's tasks that they need to be doing? Or do you have a team members, or do you have, a VA who you work with? There's scheduling content, there's publishing, there's the follow-up of looking at the analytics. There's so many different pieces and parts that go into content creation, and it's all happening at once, that if you are not on top of this, it is so easy to drop the ball or even miss a deadline. And it really doesn't have to be that way. And that's the whole point behind a content workflow process. Because a content workflow is actually giving you not just the visual representation of from idea creation to publication, but it also incorporates tools that you need. The tools that you want to use to schedule, the tools that you use to create your images, the tools that you use to brainstorm. So maybe you're using, ChatGPT. Those are tools that you use, and that is a part of your content workflow. So when we're looking at the content workflow, I want to touch a little bit about some of the workflow apps and programs that are out there. These are the programs that are going to help you be more efficient and more effective with your time. It also helps you when you start to see it all laid out like this. You start to begin to see which are repetitive tasks. And what I mean by repetitive tasks, it's like the same things, like you're creating images for Instagram. And so it allows you to see areas where you can start batching stuff and to save you time. So if you know that you've got, you're doing 5 Instagram posts this week, you can spend time batching writing the copy. You can spend some time batching creating all of the images. You can spend some time batching uploading it into a scheduling program. So all of these things together combine into that part of the workflow, the content workflow. And so let's talk a little bit about these programs. There are a ton of programs out there. And so what I want to do is I just want to give you just a few of them, just to give you an idea of what to look for. Because one of the main things that you do want to make sure that you are looking for, especially if you're a person who has contractors or who has team members, you want to make sure that this program has some type of collaboration features. Allows you to put comments and task assignments, and it allows you to have conversation in between the different stages of the things that are going on. And so that's a really important piece, especially, like I said, if you are a solopreneur and working by yourself, it is not as important. But if you are in a position where you do have contractors that come in who are participating in your content workflow, you do have a VA, you do have team members, it is really, really important to be able to have the program interface set up to allow communication between the 2 of you, or the 3 of you, or the 4 of you, depending upon how big your team is. So let's talk through this. One of the best programs that is out there is a program called ClickUp. ClickUp allows you to basically, it's huge with collaboration, but it also allows you to customize the templates. So it allows you to work the way that you like to work. So it makes it easier for you to get into the program, and there's not so many stumbles, and you're still learning the program and trying to figure it out. Because if you can have a workflow set up in a template that works for you and the way that you work, you're going to be able to get into this program really quickly, really easy, and you're going to be able to see the benefits within probably days versus weeks. Um, Another good program for collaboration is called Notion. Notion is another one that's going to allow you to do some workflow templates too, a lot differently. Um, set up with a lot differently based upon the way that you work. It's also a really, really great program for collaboration, especially if you are one of these people who has more than just one person, like a contractor. So take a look at Notion. Two other ones that I do want to bring up are Asana, which is really great for teams, and Monday.com. Both of those are both really fabulous programs that are going to allow you to visually see this content workflow where you can see everything and all of the status and all of the stages that the content is going through, and still allow you to move through it in a way that nothing gets lost. You know where one thing ends and one thing starts, and so there's not this problem of, well, I thought that you did it, I thought that you did it, how come nobody's doing it? It's a matter of taking a look at this and somebody moving, the card from one place to another, or clicking on it, or saying that it's completed. And so the idea is so that it makes it a whole lot easier to manage what's going on within this program. And the last one that I want to talk about is Trello. I have personally used Trello, and Trello is really, really good, especially if you're just a one-person show and you're really not, Trello does have the option that if you do want to bring in contractors or your VA or something like that, and the both of you can work on a particular board together. But for those of us who work for just ourselves, I think that Trello is one of the best programs out there. I have been using the free version for years. So it's not even something where you have to spend, hundreds of thousands of dollars to make it work. I love the idea of setting up a board where it's saying, idea, production, draft, edit, posting, and you be able to move a card from, so you can literally look at this program and you can see all of the tasks that need to be done, all of the due dates that need to get tracked, that are getting tracked, all of the things that need to happen just by looking at your screen. And you'll be able to see if there's resources that you're missing, is there a program that you need to bring into the process, and if you're missing any steps along the way. And that's the whole point of this. It's not that I'm asking you to do like one more thing, because as business owners, like, one more thing. No, it's not it. This one more thing that I'm asking you to do is going to help you. It's going to help you be more efficient with your time. And again, you want to utilize a program that works the way that you work, because if you're finding yourself struggling and it's taking weeks and weeks to get ramped up to it, you need to move on to another program and use one that is more aligned with the way that you work. And you're going to know when you go into it and you start, messing around with it and moving things around and clicking around and doing this and moving this, and you're like, oh, okay, this is good, or no, this is not. So I really want you to trust your gut. And just because, like, hundreds of thousands of people are using this one program and it's not for you, it's okay. It's totally okay. I'm going to give you permission, everybody, to use what works for you. So now you get your content creation workflow program. You're ready to ramp up your content volume. You can actually, you're wanting to, you've got the whole thing laid out and you're ready to do this. So what do we need to do? How does this work with the program? Well, one of the first things that I'm going to ask you to do is I want you to think about your content goals. I want you to think about what you want to get out of creating this content. Are you trying to increase your brand awareness? Are you growing your email list? Are you trying to generate leads for a service that you have? Are you trying to sell your products? This all makes sense because what we're trying to do is, normally when we do something like this, we start at the end and we work our way back. So if your goal is to grow your email list, what are the steps and tasks that you need to get to grow that email list? And it could just be something as simple as signing up for the email program, creating your email opt-in, creating your email sequences, monitoring your email sequences, where can I share my email opt-in, all of those types of things. These are tasks that go into growing your email list. And these are the tasks that would go on your content workflow. because you want to think about how you can move through this process to reach your goals. And knowing going into, boy, that was a big one. And know that going into this, you can always adjust your content goals as your business priorities are changing. So don't feel like, if you've gone through this process and all you've been doing is growing your email list and now you're ready to start selling more products online, don't look at a content workflow and go, well, it's just for email and that's all we have. No, you can do another workflow process to sell products. It's not like that's set in stone and that's all there is. So just know that as you keep moving through that. And the same goes with everything with the workflow we want to talk about today. Everything can and should be adjusted. You should be at a place where you have, maybe it's a quarterly review. Maybe it's a monthly review. You should have a place in your business where you are able to review what's going on, where you can see what's going on with your content. You can check your analytics. You know what's working. You know it. You know where the bottlenecks are. You can try to figure out what needs tweaking, because nobody wants to get 6 months down the road, a year down the road, and wonder what the heck just happened when you could have figured something out 6 months ago by doing this review. Okay, so we got our goals. Kind of wandered off a little bit. Let me get back on track here. So we got our goals, and then we also want to think about the content formats and type. And what I mean by format, I'm referring to text, video, audio. That's the format. But the type is going to be very specific, like a blog post, like YouTube video, a podcast. Those are very, so a text could be a social media post. A text could be a blog post. So that's why you've got text for format, but you also have type, which gets you even more specific. And you want to think about that with regards to, who your target is, what your goals are. And let me give you a really clear example here. So let's say that your target is to grow your email list, and your the people that you're talking to in your community are Gen Z. So if we think about who Gen Z are and their behaviors, we know that TikTok is going to be the best place for them to be, because TikTok is the top search engine for most of Gen Z, believe it or not Google. So if Gen Z is your primary target customers, you want to just say, so my format is video, but my type is video for TikTok. So you see where the difference between, so the format itself is just video, but you get real specific with the type of video for TikTok, because you could make any kind of video. You could do shorts, you could do reels, you could do all of that kind of stuff, streaming. But this is real specific, and that's what I mean. When we get to the type, it's real specific. So I want you to think about that as we're moving through this. And I also want you to add one more piece into this. Think about your content production frequency. And we talked a little bit about scaling before, but where are you right now? Not where you want to scale to at this point. When you're first putting this content workflow together, I want you to do this for where you are right now. You can do a content workflow process to help you scale up, but I highly recommend, if you've never done this before and this is your first time doing this, just to do this from where you are right now. So maybe your frequency is 1 blog post a month. Maybe your frequency is 5 Instagram posts per week and 1 reel. Maybe your frequency is 1 YouTube video a week. Whatever your frequency is, let's start from where you are right now. And then down the road, once you've got this content workflow and working for you, once you see that something was taking you 5 hours and it took you 3 hours and now you're down to 2 and now you're down to 1, at that moment when you see yourself getting more efficient with your time and you're more effective with the tools that you're using, then that's that moment when you know that you can start scaling. And so then the content workflow will add in the tools and the resources that you need to start scaling. So let's think about this from the place right now, especially for those of you who have not done this before, of where you are right now. So let's just say, for the sake of saying, to keep us moving forward, You've decided on your content workflow program, the content that you want to produce, knowing the type and the format, and your frequency. So you're ready to create this content workflow. And I want you to think about it from the idea of stages. So you identify your content creation in stages. And the stages could be everything from, let me think here. Let's talk about a blog post. So let's see, the stages of the blog post could be, what is the topic that I want to do? Okay, I'm going to think about my topic. A next stage would be researching that topic and thinking about the keywords that I'm going to put into my blog post. The next stage would be the draft, writing a draft for the content, putting all my research together, putting in my notes, that crappy first draft kind of thing. The next stage would be editing. The next stage could be finalization. For me, when I do a blog post and I use the word finalization, that to me means making sure that the meta tags are in, making sure alt tags are in my images, finding the images that I want to put on there, making sure that I've read through it one more time and make sure that I didn't miss any grammar errors, making sure that my inner tags that I use within my website are there as well. So all of those things combined together create the different stages that it takes for somebody to create this blog post. And all of these are just task based. They're the action steps, they're the tasks that we're looking at. And if you're a little confused about what I mean about the different stages, I want you to think about it from this point. Think about it as if each piece of that blog post that I just described to get it published on your website required a different team member to have it. So at what point in the content creation do you hand off your work for the next to the next team member? Are you the one that's doing the research? It's done. Hand it off to the next team member. Are you the one writing the draft? Hand it off to the next team member. Are you the one editing the draft? Hand it off to the next team member. These are like checkpoints along the way, and it shows the progress of your content creation efforts. And so this is what I'm talking about when it comes to the different stages. And my mind is going faster than my mouth is. Sorry, I keep messing my words up because I'm thinking in my head, and it's sometimes it doesn't always come out clearly in my mouth. So let me start that sentence over again, because this is a really important piece here. Because when you're doing this content creation workflow, it's not just saying blog post. Okay, I'm doing a blog post this week. It's more to it. There are these different stages, and that's a really important piece to this. Because when you break the content creation workflow down into these different stages, that is that time when you start to see how much time that things take. That is the point when you get to see, am I missing a resource? Am I missing a tool that I could be using? Brainstorming, should I be using ChatGPT? So ChatGPT goes into this stage because it's going to help me with my brainstorming. Is there something that I could use to help me search for my keywords? SEM Rush is one of those programs out there that can help you with that. So that needs to get added in. And that is really the point. That is the main point of this content workflow, because it allows you to basically see everything, all of the pieces and parts that go into creating that piece of content. And you can view it all visually in just one glance. And it makes it so easy for you to understand where you are in the process, how much more that you need to do. And again, it's also helping you to track, why is this part of the stage taking me 3 hours? What could I be doing to save some time on this? So it allows you to look at each piece separately, as opposed to saying blog post. The blog post is going to take me 5 hours, as opposed to saying research, writing, drafting, and all images. All of these things combined together create the entire workflow when it comes to posting that blog post on your website. And it allows you to also, review what's going on and to be able to modify it. And as I said earlier in this video, you would much rather update this sooner rather than later. And if you find yourself, months down the road and it's still taking you all this time, start to assess and make changes, not so much to your content, but the content workflow itself. Because if everything is humming along as it should be, I do think that making sure that you schedule some sort of regular review is super, super important, just to make sure everything continues and is humming along as great as it could be. And when you do this, that's when you know that your content workflow is working. And it's working for you, and it's working for your business, and not working against you. Because a proper content workflow, it will take you some time to put this together. It will take you some time to document this and to put all the pieces into whatever program that you decide to go with. But once you implement this and you regularly review it and you regularly maintain it, you will find that your content creation will become more efficient, you will become more consistent, and you will finally get into that place where you can start scaling your marketing to reach more people online. So thank you so much for joining me today on this creative journey. If you've enjoyed this content about creativity, I hope that you'll hit the share button, and let's keep this conversation going. If you're ready to dig into the deep work of developing your content marketing strategy, the link is below for you to subscribe to the Create Your Business program. You will get your creative tools every month. You will get the interactive workbook in your inbox. And you will stop thinking that you're stuck and you don't know how to create marketing messages that resonate with customers. And you will believe that you can come up with these marketing messages and all of this content ideas, and you'll finally see results. You are magnificent, my friend, and let me be the first to say, I'm proud of you. Until next time.